Let's now move on to the second exercise. As we did with the first one, we want to repropose the same exercise as the Excel hands-on session, but doing it with Mario. We will use a second script called Mario Exercise 2. The first steps are exactly the same as the first exercise, therefore we will import Mario, parse the Xiobase database, aggregate it with exactly the same Excel file we already prepared. In this case, we can avoid using the getAggregationExcel function since the Excel already exists. We just use the aggregate function. Now we can create a second Excel file called shock2 for this exercise using the getShockExcel function once again. This shock is a little more complicated with respect to the first one and consists of a 3% reduction of European imports of Russian gas in favor of gas coming from the rest of the world. To do so, we need to extract the transactions of natural gas coming from Russia towards Europe from the intersectoral transaction matrix Z. To do so, it is necessary to be a little bit acquainted with the lock function of the well-known Pandas Python library. Let's save this information into a new variable called ru2ugas by using this command. Finally, we need to calculate the actual reduction to be applied to such coefficients by multiplying by a factor of -3%. You can look at the values by opening the Variable Explorer to visualize the variable. Now that we calculated the gas imports reduction, we can open the shock2 Excel file. Knowing that we are modeling a change of intersectoral transactions, we position into the Z sheet and we start implementing the natural gas import switch as shown. The switch will be a reduction of natural gas coming from Russia to all the European sectors. For each sector, the corresponding absolute reduction can be copy-pasted by the Python variable just calculated. The same variation, but with positive sign, shall be implemented for the rest of the world natural gas sector towards all the European sectors. Once the Excel file is ready, save it, close it, and come back to Spyder to run the shockCalc function by specifying the file name and z equal to true to indicate it is the matrix affected by the shock. Once the shock is implemented, we can visualize its impact by using Mario plot matrix function. Similarly to exercise 1, we want to visualize the impact both on the value added, matrix V, and on emissions, matrix E. Looking at the economic impact, we can see the value added of the Russian natural gas sector is penalized, while the same sector in the rest of the world takes advantage. However, the supply chain effect is not negligible, as we can see by looking at the other goods and services reaction. On the environmental side, Russian emissions decrease as expected, while the ones in the rest of the world increase. According to the table we used, it seems the rest of the world's natural gas sector has a lower emission factor since its emissions are increasing much less than how much the Russian ones are decreasing. To conclude, keep in mind Mario was designed to be simple and user-friendly even when dealing with much more complex analysis. You can search for the terminology and for any function in the documentation, or don't hesitate to get in contact with us.